Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. This is Red Dissection and we're here to analyze and pick the bones out of Manchester United's latest draw against Galatasaray in the Champions League. Going into the match, it wasn't really a football match. It was more of a basketball match, end-to-end, pinball. United never had control of the midfield or even forward areas. They were lethargic. They made a glut of chances and missed a few of those. They scored three and should have scored double that amount easily. Galatasaray also had chances. They could have been awarded a penalty early on in this first half. Uh, so that was fortunate on United's part. And also, United survived a close offside call for Icardi, which in my view could have gone either way, but VAR went in United's favor. Even at 2-0 up and 3-1 up, United never exuded that kind of confidence because they were not keeping the ball. Most of the play was by just hoofing the ball from deep, even though Galatasaray was providing and allowing a lot of spaces in midfield, and especially between midfield and their back line. And every time United was able to penetrate the early press and get into those areas, United had ample time and space to execute counter attacks, which I don't think United exploited very well. Also, in the last 10 minutes, when the score was level, United had like 3-4 chances. Listi himself could have gotten a hat trick, but United weren't able to capitalize. And eventually, this draw might very well be the final nail in the coffin of Manchester United Champions League campaign this season. Looking at statistics, both teams had similar chances created, similar kind of possession, similar kind of passes completed, pass completion rate was more or less the same. United had a lot more pace going front for them with Højlund, Garnacho, and Anthony, who was for me the man of the match. Galatasaray actually didn't create too many chances until their first goal, which was an Onana mistake, and also when United went 3-1 up in the second half. At that particular moment, United were doing well. Amrabat was coming into the game. He was playing well, but he was substituted owing to his yellow card and possible, danger of being given a red card. But as soon as he went off and Menu came on in, the midfield couldn't compete with them. They weren't keeping the ball. Menu was involved. He was at fault. Well, you can say he was partially at fault for the third goal. He couldn't track Ertuğrul, who was playing in number 10 position. And we had already highlighted Ertuğrul's threat in our preview for this match. He turned out to be the man who made the difference in the end, scoring third goal and possibly giving Galatasaray a fighting chance to secure the second spot for the knockout stage. Coming to player ratings, starting with the man himself, Onana. He was a clown in the goal. All three goals were avoidable, especially the first two. The third one, you can say that the strike was clean and he didn't have much time to react because he took an early shot at Ertuğrul. But still, it was on his near post and should have been saved. Even his distribution was clumsy at times. Often he was hoofing the ball up to Garnacho, Højlund, or Anthony. It didn't make much sense, especially because United were afforded a lot of spaces in midfield and the forward area. So Onana's kicking didn't make much sense. He did give a couple of spectacular balls out to the wing. But apart from that, he left a lot to be desired, and certainly it's a big concern. No matter if you have a 3-goal lead or 2-goal lead, United have this susceptibility to their keeper making unforced errors continuously in every match. And we know that Erik Ten Hag will not reprimand Onana, as we've seen. Baidnir hasn't given even a single opportunity. So it remains to be seen what Ten Hag does, but it's a big problem. Aaron Wan-Bissaka started out a little shakily, but he was all right overall. Defensively, he was fine, apart from few mistakes while tackling. He got a yellow card that also made him a little shy in tackling Zaha. So that might be a reason why he was subbed off later on in the second half. Attacking wise, he didn't create much, but he's always tidy on the ball, good with carrying the ball and giving a reprieve to United, who otherwise have really slow defenders apart from him. So it was a decent performance. But since United conceded 3 goals, we can't give him higher marks than this. So this is what he gets. Harry Maguire continues his good form. His distribution was okay. He didn't make or commit any kind of horrendous mistakes. He also blocked one of the Zaha shot, which was good defending for him. The only problem with Maguire is that he's so slow that he ends up getting back to his old habits and dropping deep. Especially when they were chasing the equalizer in the second half, we kept on dropping deeper and deeper, and that's what happened against Copenhagen, and that's the same thing that happened today. So it has to be put on the defensive line. The amount of time they were just backing off the attackers and fullbacks and wingers, so he gets a low score. Lindelof was worse than Maguire, so he gets even lower scores. He's just too flimsy. He's not able to compete physically. He doesn't have the pace. He's decent on the ball, but he hardly shows it, especially under pressure. And with Luke Shaw on his left hand side, it was a nightmare to watch because Shaw obviously isn't a good defender. He might be okay in patches in a season, but he's not consistent. And the left center back position always suffers when he comes back into the team, and this is what we have seen. So he gets a low score. Luke Shaw was back to his patchy self. I mean, he had some good moments in attack, carrying the ball, but he's clumsy while defending. He lacks concentration. He doesn't look fit. So he just while the winger attacks him, he just drops deep, goes back to his own box, and giving easy entry into our areas to their wingers, especially Zaik, who really had him toast. It was a terrible performance, and but this is something that we have become accustomed to seeing from Shaw. He has a couple of good matches, then he goes on a streak of bad performances, oftentimes giving away goals and chances to other team, and this is what happened in this match as well. Sofian Amrabat played in a double pivot. He was the deepest player in midfield. He struggled, to be honest, especially in the first half, especially on the ball. But he grew into the match. I mean, by the second half, he really got into the swing of things. He was keeping a tight ship in front of the center backs, who themselves are really slow. So he was doing a decent job of screening and not allowing easy shots onto the goal. He was involved in the third goal, which was a fantastic move. I think he was prematurely subbed off. I mean, there's always a danger that he could have gotten a red card. So it did make sense at that moment. But in hindsight, you can see that when Mainu came on, we completely lost the balance in midfield. The job that Amrabat was supposed to do, Mainu couldn't do it. I mean, maybe it's just inexperience, but he certainly lacked the positional awareness that Amrabat has, and we struggled to have any control. Even though in the first half we didn't have too much control, we suddenly were compact. In the second half, we lost all of that after his substitution, and that's why he gets not a great score but a decent score. Scott McTominay scored a wonderful goal on counter attack. He was a constant threat in terms of his off the ball movement. He was making runs into the box, but on the ball he's atrocious. I mean, he doesn't have any kind of first touch. He's terrible in dribbling. And he's clumsy in terms of his close control of the ball. And in midfield, you need that kind of close control, and to have that ball tied to your body and able to turn with it. And he lacks that. He also lacks any kind of awareness in terms of passing, and that you could see in the second half when we were chasing the winner. He shot a couple of times rather than playing in balls to the strikers. One of the time Marshall was clearly free, but he opted to shoot and didn't hit the target. So that is a complaint that we've had with Scott McTominay ever since he broke into the team under Ole, and I don't see that changing. I'm sure he'll play the next game and the game after that. So this is the usual score that McTominay gets. Anthony was the man of the match for me. He had a decent first half, but he really came into his own in the second half. He was troubling the right back. He was having a great game in the second half, especially he got a lot of space on the wing in this match because Zaha doesn't track back. So he was one-on-one with his fullback quite a few times, and he was successful in going past him, playing in balls into Wan-Bissaka and Dalo and into midfield. So he was a constant menace for them in the second half. Obviously, he didn't have any clear-cut chances to score himself, but he was always involved, especially in the second half, so he gets a good score. Bruno Fernandes scored a worldie. He was also involved in the first goal with the assist for Garnacho's goal. But apart from that, he was terrible. I mean, even though he's the creative spark for Manchester United, he's also a big part in most of our attacks breaking down. He's certainly not the top quality player that many would have you believe. The hype is real, and he does what he does. He stat pads, gets an assist and a goal, and United end up losing, and they end up conceding a lot of chances. And obviously, he was involved in the first two goals, giving away stupid, imbecilic fouls near the box, and Galatasaray took advantage of it. And most of the time, he gives away foul because he cannot compete physically, doesn't win his duels, and that is the reason that we keep on seeing the similar results and similar kind of performance in Europe, especially where teams have a lot more to offer attacking wise and a lot more threat in midfield. So this is what we've been seeing from Bruno Fernandes, and he is the captain. So I don't see it changing anytime soon, anyway. Alejandro Garnacho started the match like a house on fire. He had a wonderful goal. Was involved a few times on counter attack, but his influence gradually died out. He fizzled out. I mean, he had him figured mostly through the second half. Obviously, he wanted to use his pace, but Boy matched him in terms of pace and physicality. He did get few chances to like cross the ball into the box. We opted to shoot, and that wasn't on target. Overall, it was a mixed bag. I mean, he started off with a wonderful goal, but by the end, he was completely knackered and didn't offer much. So was replaced by Facundo Pallistri. Asmund Højlund did a couple of good things, gave a few knockdowns and few layoffs to the on-rushing midfielders, but overall he leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, his close control isn't there. His first touch is missing. His aerial presence is dwindling. I mean, in a lot of ways, he was dominated by the centre backs who won the best of players. And you can see in the Premier League also he gets dominated easily, and this is what we saw even today. It was more like a Premier League match, this one, and you could see that he doesn't have that composure both in build up and in the box, and he seems to be lacking confidence because he hasn't scored in the intervening period in the Premier League. I think those doubts have filtered into his mind and are affecting his play even in Europe. It remains to be seen. I mean, unless he gets his first goal in the Premier League, I don't see a lot of improvement from him. And it'll be interesting if he or Marshall starts on the weekend against Newcastle. Substitution: Kobe Mainu was substituted on for Amrabat. He had a few decent touches. I mean, he's good in terms of getting away from his markers and from pressure, but he lacks positional awareness. I mean, especially playing in that deep lying defensive role. He didn't track Atoglu well, and so he was able to get his shot off, which Onana should have saved, but he was certainly lacking in that awareness of his runner. But he didn't affect the match positively a lot. Defensively, it was a downgrade from Amrabat, so he gets a low score in this match. Anthony Marshall came on in for Hoyland. He wasn't involved too much, but in the last 20 minutes after they equalized, he made a few good runs. He ran with the ball, dribbled, had control of the ball better than Hoyland did. He got others involved in the build-up, especially on the flanks. He was dropping on the left flank a lot, and which was his position initially when he flourished under Van Hal, and you could see that he enjoys coming in from the left hand side. United lacked composure in the last 10-20 minutes, and he couldn't get too many chances. He did have one chance, but I think he scuffed it, and the keeper saved his shot. But overall, he wasn't the worst player, and he gets not the worst score in this match. Diogo Dalot was brought in for Wan-Bissaka, who got a yellow card. Attacking wise, he was threatening. He was running behind their fullback Angelino. Zaha wasn't tracking him, so he got a free run a lot of times. He lacked polish in the final third though, and he could have gotten a shot off, but decided to try to dribble past two defenders and got the ball taken off of him. Defensively, he was a liability. Even a knackered Zaha was going past him without any effort. I mean, he had him on toast, and United were lucky on a few instances. I mean, Maguire made a last-ditch interception on one of Zaha's shot, but he was going past Dalo with ease, and that's a big problem. And you can see that happening again on the weekend against Newcastle. So that is a problem with Dalo, and his primary job is to defend, and he's not good at it. Facundo Pallistri was bright in terms of his movement. He got a few opportunities in the last 10 minutes, to get his shot off, especially in the box. But most of the time it was off target. He rushed his shots most of the time, and he lacked composure. He hasn't scored a lot of goals. He hasn't gotten a consistent run in this team, so you can excuse him for his lack of sharpness. But these are the moments that elevate a youngster into a first team player, and I think he missed an opportunity to make a real impact in this match, considering that Galatasaray was giving him a lot of space and the defenders were tiring. So I think it wasn't a great performance from Pelistri. Eric Ten Hag had the same tactics he had against Everton. He had the same tactics he had even before that. I mean, United lack any kind of cohesive attacking style. It's mostly hoofball or counter attack. So it's no surprise that we concede a lot of chances because on those counter attacks and on those low percentage high balls, chances are that you're gonna lose possession and be attacked on the counter, and that's what happens. And we concede a lot of chances, and we have conceded like 14 goals in 5 matches. That is the worst record bar one, which is Antwerp, I think. He's the one who makes the choices. He drops the likes of World Cup winner in Varane, and even 4-time Champions League winner in Casemiro. And so when the things go wrong, as they always seem to do against United, we keep on conceding a lot of goals. We keep on conceding a lot of chances. Even against Everton, we conceded a lot of chances. So the pattern is the same. The only thing is Galatasaray take the chance. A good team like Newcastle will take the chances, and we end up with a 3-3 or a 3-0 or a 4-3 like we did against Bayern. And against smaller teams, we are able to win 1-0, eke out a result like 2-1, or even get a penalty or get a 3-0 like against Everton. But if Everton, truth be told, if Everton took the chances in the first half, that would have been a similar score, if not worse. So Eric Ten Hag gets all the blame for these kind of performances, especially the fact that they are repeated, the patterns are keep repeating themselves, and there are no elevating factors. And he has his fullback, he has his first or center backs in the team now, so there are no excuses for Eric Ten Hag. Honestly, the table seldom lies, and United are where they are. They are one of the group, and they deserve to be there. If it weren't for that penalty save in the last minute by Andre Onana, we would have gotten only 1 point till now in this campaign, and that is the position we are in, and that is the state we are currently in as a club, as a team, as the manager, as the players. They are just not good enough. United will play Bayern Munich on the final match day at Old Trafford. Even if we win, we'd require a draw between the other two teams, Copenhagen, who play at home against Galatasaray. And I don't see that happening. I mean, it can happen. Stranger things have happened in football, but there'll be too much to ask. And even if that happens, there are no guarantees. Certainly, we won't be favorites against Bayern Munich, and chances are that we get clobbered against Munich, especially on counter attacks, and especially against strikers like Harry Kane, who will take the chances. So I don't see United progressing into the knockout stages. It remains to be seen whether we are able to get Europa League, which has its benefits and its harms. But we'll wait and see when that happens in 2 weeks' time. Honestly, no Manchester United fans can say that they're surprised. Even when they went 2-0 up or 3-1 up, we could sense that we will concede. We never have control of the matches. We never have the control of the ball, especially in midfield. And this way, you can't win championships or you can't win trophies. You need good defense, ability to hold the ball, make the opponents chase the ball, and we lack the basics to do any of those. And it is no surprise that we concede a lot of chances. Even if we are scoring a lot of goals, we are conceding even more chances. In Europe or even in your league, you can't hope to win trophies and championships just by hoping to outscore your opponents every time, because eventually good teams will take advantage of it, and you have to also account for individual mistakes that happens in every season and every team. So if you don't have a settled pattern to control the momentum in a game, like when you go 2-0 up or 3-1 up in a game, in a difficult away game, and just take the sting out of it, just don't let them in, and we can't seem to do that. Even again, Copenhagen, it was the same story. Even though we were a man down, and this continues to happen under Erik ten Hag, and it is down to the coach in the end. The manager dictates how we play, how we structure ourselves as individuals and as his team, and we play in his image. And all the shortcomings and foibles we see happening over and over again, those go down to the manager, and he has to take the brunt of it. And I don't see him getting a reprieve out of this until we see a change in the seat of power. On that somber note, this episode comes to an end. Please join us for the Red Prep show for the Newcastle game. It'll drop around Friday, I think, inshallah. So please tune in for that. So until we meet again, take care, do good, pray for all Palestine and all the oppressed people all around the globe. Assalamu alaikum.